What's going on, guys? What's cracking? We are working on HVAC today, and this kit comes from MVP Motorsports. So thank you, Dusty, over there. This is a kit that actually Frankie at Built to Perfection had made, and now the MVP is the sole distributor of them all. So this kit you can get for left-hand and right-hand drive, so make sure you select the right one because they are slightly different. Be aware of that. This replaces all the nasty foam inside your HVAC. So this is going to take a little bit of time. I don't sure how I would say how hard this is going to be. It's mostly screws. It's just going to be a bit tedious. So as you can see here, all the foam just literally disintegrates on these cars, and I'm barely touching, but this will just all rip off. And what happens is when you're driving, her car, I've been doing it lately here, it's just been atrocious. It's just blowing out. Anytime you get above, there's like speed 1 through 5. As soon as you hit speed 3 and above, it just starts spraying stuff out. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And it gets in your eyes, and that's been kind of annoying here lately too. So my goal is to take this fully apart. I'm gonna set up my camera here, take this completely apart for y'all. I took off this one bracket here, but it's already out of the car. Frankie made a video on it too, but I wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit more in depth. Hopefully I can go and show you some more things. But yeah, so first thing you're gonna do is obviously unplug everything you can. So these little connectors. This little guy here is the biggest pain along with this one. So that little guy, clear one here, goes down in this. It was not easy to get apart. Another thing I'd like to try today is the SC300 also allows you to have a air filter. And I think that might help us tremendously. I think it actually goes in this spot here. So there is something I saw in the forums where you can kind of convert it to have it. And I figure while I'm taking this all apart, would be a good time to do it. Would help keep all that debris out from the car going into your eyes, things of that nature too. So I'm like, I kind of like this idea. So while I'm doing everything else, my goal is to also convert it to that. Again, this is going to take a little bit of time. Here's some of the bolts I took out for the HVAC that actually hold it into the chassis itself. Set those over there. What else we got? There's just some blank ones. But look at this. I mean, no wonder it comes off and just sprays you in the eyes. It's absolutely atrocious. So let me set up my camera here. Going to take my drill and start zipping these out. Just make sure you don't round anything off. If you need to, you can do it by hand, but I feel like that would be pretty darn tedious. The thing I wanted to do here is kind of go around the box and show you guys where everything is at currently. So here's how it looks fully assembled. The only thing I've taken out was the screws for this. There's 3 over there. What's funny is I've never touched this, but you can see the screws actually ripped out of it there. But you can see where all the modules sit, all the screws and all the wiring up top here. We'll have to pop these out. This will come out, your heater core itself. I don't think Toyota sells that. I think there's some aftermarket ones, and part of me is like, should I do it? But it's aftermarket versus OEM, so I'm worried that it'll just actually be worse. Again, all this in here, and just look at all the, look at all the dirt. Like it just broke down. Look at all that. That is just loose crap, lack of better words. Here's the back side of it, or I guess the front side, depending how you look at it. More wiring that runs underneath here. This comes out to the actual car itself. Again, here's the AC part of it. I believe it comes with all the foam for this too. And again, as we get it apart and we get to that section, I will go over it. Again, here is, I don't know what that's for. I guess a blowover or something. Don't know where this goes exactly. That's interesting. So, okay, I'm gonna set up the camera and let's start taking this thing apart. All right, first and foremost, take that off. And this piece can go down too. So one thing I noticed here, this one is an actual screw, where these ones are, this one was like a threaded, where this one's more like, oh crap, did the first thing I said I didn't want to do. This one's more like a screw type, so see if you can see there. But this one that went into this hole here was more like a regular bolt thread, so it looks like it's fine. I'm not sure what type it is, but looks much finer. So just making y'all aware of that. Again, I'm just trying to remove as many of these as fast as I can and catch it all on camera. do is slide this piece off here, which seems you just need to, this is for the heater core here. So this is gonna need to slip off. And this looks like it slips like that, and this sits in here, like so then. So what I do need to do though is declip these. Where is my needle nose? So let's make sure. These WIA needle nose pliers are a godsend. They are like the nicest needle nose pliers I've ever had. They're like extremely nice. But now that comes off. Don't lose these clamps then. So it looks like it comes off with it. Set those off to the side here too. Not sure how crazy we need to go to get this to come off, because I don't want to break anything. So it looks like this clamp needs to come out of here. So to get these pipes off and stuff, you got to make sure you get this module out. Don't take the screw out of the center here, but this should come out now, and this should too. That should all be able to pop out now. Should. All right. Again, keyword. Whoopsie daisy. Let's not lose that. Oops. So that sat in there. So I did want to get to show you guys how this is in here. So screw here. Oops. Oops. And now it's popping out. So screws goes in here and it follows in this also. So if you see there has like a little guide it needs to follow in there. It's actually not sitting in it, but that guide then needs to sit up top of here. The screw was holding this on, and now this can all come out. So once this pops out, this should all come out as one unit. Oops. But I just wanted to be able to show that. I'm going to sit that over here off to the side. And now that should allow this to fully come off now. Again, keyword should. There we go. So there is our heater core fully out now. All right, I'm going to take this off now, see if this will just pop off. It will, so see how bad this is. And again, there's no like rhyme or reason how to take this thing apart, to be honest. If there is, I'm not following it, if you can't tell. So yeah, there is that. Now this thing looks like, I'm not sure how this pops off or how this works exactly. So I need to look into that. Is it clipped? Oh, it looks like this is clipped in. How is that? Aha, there's more screws here that I have to get to. So I'll have to take off the screw here. Those screws already came out, but I gotta take off that one yet so we can fully disassemble this. There's these little actuating arms I need to disassemble, but this is your actual blower motor itself, which we need to be careful with. Again, that gives us more access now, but there's more stuff, I believe, on this side. I need to pull this off yet. So I guess I need to declip that. I just don't like to declip or anything that's plastic if I can unscrew it. If I can unscrew this in some way, shape, or form, I'd rather do that than I would anything else, just so I don't break anything. Yeah, so, all right, let's continue. Guess do I need to pop this off, or can I just stay on? I guess with everything else now, that's just, I can stay in there. I could just do that, then this tube can just, like so. Okay, that just pops off. That's not the end of the world. All right, I'm gonna keep going at this thing like crazy here, so I'm just gonna start zipping out as many of these things as I can, these screws, which look to be a little bit different once it comes to the, aka the shell of it almost. So let's see here. God, there's a lot to this. A lot more than I thought. See, and that just slides in and out. So This little arm here on this just slides in and then clips in, so that wasn't too hateful. More perspective on how bad things are. Like what is that? It's like, oh, look at this. Like the foam is literally not attached to anything. No, it's just banging around in there, not doing diddly squat. So that's awesome. That's mint. Sweet. That's doing literally nothing. Look at that. Cool. Here's the bottom side of this motor here. I watched Frankie's video. He said this was a pain in the butt for some reason. Not sure why or what could it be. So I guess I'll find out in 2 seconds here, but I'm gonna take these screws out. See, maybe that's why. I really don't know. And I don't think those screws need to come out, but I would assume this does. Those look different, actually. Those don't look like screws, so maybe I'll leave those. Again, this needs to pop off. Those need to come out. Same here. Again, I think a lot of this will help open things up, but let's go ahead and attack that. There's a bunch right here. A bunch, I mean. See, maybe this one? There we go. Is there any behind it now? I think this needs to come off first before I get some of the ones behind it. Yeah, looks like. So that needs to slide off. Set that there. There's so many screws on this thing. This is absolutely absurd how many there is. How many times have I said absurd now, guys? You probably heard it. Okay. That pops off. Oh my gosh. That is nasty there. Let's put that there. Looks like the heater core itself, but okay, the screws are out of this, so make sure. So you can see we have the plug up top here too, so let's make sure when I'm pulling this off, you can see I pop this black piece off this way towards me. This white piece has pieces that it slides into, so it looks like it needs to pull down towards me, up like that. It has this like sticky stuff up top. Looks like it has a foam seal here, but look at all that crap. And just look at all that mess in there. That is absolutely, that's nasty. That is some nasty, nasty stuff. Guys, when you pull this piece out here, this was sitting in there like such. So you just pull it out once you get those covers off. And this is your AC system. So I'm gonna set this over here on the ground now too. One thing to be noted, there was a little slot right here. So a little slot right here. That little notch there is where your wiring runs up through. There's a little 2-wire with a little blue sheathing around it, runs up through that little slit. So when you put it back together, just give yourself that heads up. For this module here, I know Frankie said about was a pain for some reason. I'm not sure. For this module here, Frankie said that this was a pain for some reason. In his video, I'm not sure, maybe it's this. I haven't unclipped that yet, but just 3 screws pops out. And then, is this a heat sink of sorts, I guess? I don't know. So just need to unplug it here to clip that out. Oops, sorry, my camera keeps going haywire here. So I just need to unclip it here. See if I can even do that with one hand. No, and I'm not trying to break anything. So let's unclip that, set that off to the side here too, and then see if these are weird screws. I want to take the rest of the clamshell off first if I can, along with the rest of the stuff, see if I can separate it fully, and then go from there. The weird piece is where the heater core sits. This little metal piece just slides in there. This was underneath of it, so it says like Denso on it, but this was just chilling like that in there under the underside of it. So that just wrapped under, but it's just like, I'm not sure what this even does. And there's got to be some importance to it of some sort, but it just literally sat underneath there like so. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Now let's get to the other side here. But this is already pretty well, as you can see, they're falling apart, so I don't want to break it. So let's finish taking the mechanisms out, because I'm afraid that some of this stuff is going to start to break, or unless it just slides out together. So there's a lot more screws on this side here, which is the skinny ones, which go on the outskirts of it. Oh, look at that. Dang it. This is exactly what I don't want to do. I don't want to mess up these screws. I want to put everything back in the way they were. It's something I don't want to do. I don't want to break them or strip them. So I'm trying my best here, but this one could be a little bit longer, but I don't have anything. So it's kind of working with what I got. But I guess, does this whole mechanism just pop off now? How does this come apart now? Because this, I feel like that's still pretty well together. I guess this screw here needs to come out yet. There's a piece that slides there. I don't know how that comes out either. I gotta take a look at this. I think I have an idea by taking this off. This will help me out here, I think. We will see here in a second. And this guy down here for the actuator arm. Stays on like that. I think once you do so, this should, oh, there's one more yet. More right here. Okay, that pulls out of it at least, all right. So that all goes together over here. So that comes out. Now we still have more to go here, but as you can see, I've got this. So once you pulled that off, the one piece slid down in here, okay? So you can see where it was screwed in here and a couple other spots. Now I assume I gotta take this one out to pull that out and then pull those screws behind it, get this plate off, which then should allow this to disconnect unless I'm missing anything. I thought by now it would have come apart, but it doesn't seem to be that way. I guess this needs to come apart too because that's holding it together. Let's take a look. So one thing you got to do here too is pop this little guy off. So take the screw out, which is a threaded style bolt almost. Put that off to the side because this is going to have to slide out. This one can stay. It looks like anything that's vertical here is going to have to come out. So that one obviously does, but is there anything else? I think that should, I mean, I don't know why, but this thing is not separating and I'm not sure why. Something's really holding it tight together and I can't quite seem to see why it's not coming apart. So got to keep digging. There is a screw the whole way down there. So if you're looking at the top of this big thing here, there's a screw all the way down there. So now I got to try and get this on here and get that sucker out. For this here, it looks like it takes a T25 to get this guy off. Or no, where's that? Right here. It's this guy right here. It's a weird head that's on them. Look at that. It's a very weird looking head. But there's 3 of those, and then I'm assuming this pops off then. And that really should be it then. You see I got it split apart. These were slid up through, which I have to get the other sides here yet. To get it fully out, you see the foam is just falling off of that. This doesn't even really have much foam left on it. Some of it's doing okay, but as soon as I touch it, it's literally falling apart. So, and I'll show you the whole kit here. I just wanted to show this part first, and then we'll show you the kit. It still was definitely this was definitely involved. It was a lot more than I planned on doing. So very cool though. And I plan on cleaning all this up here next. And then we'll go through like seeing what goes where and putting the kit together. Again, thank you to Dusty and MVP Motorsports for supplying the kit today. It's great. And I'm hoping that I'm doing enough in detail for you guys. Everyone else, when they took it apart, they just kind of showed them, which I don't blame them because it's been a pain. And I can even pop up pictures then, try to take as many as possible to help me put it back together. One thing when you split it too, is inside of here was this guy here I had to cut. It would not separate, so I had to cut that right there. You can see, I don't know if that gets replaced in the kit, but I have to watch the rest of Frankie's video to make sure I get everything, but I'll go through that then. Now to get these off, what I did, and thank you to Paul Rosenbaum, is you take a flathead here and just wiggle it back and forth, and this will pop off, okay, like so. You see that piece that goes inside of it then. Set that off to the side, and this should just lift up and out then. Out of that little crevice should, and as I contradict myself there, I say it should and it's not. Why aren't you coming out? What are you stuck on? What are you stuck on? It needs to spin almost. What in the world? That one just still doesn't want to come out. I gotta see what is going on here that is getting stuck. I don't know why, but I gotta figure that out. So yeah, this was another one. Again, get back behind flathead pop. And there's 2 more, I think. There's one here and one there too. Oh, and then these guys too. I got to do the same thing. Get behind it and pop that out. All right, now it's time to clean things up. But look at this. Like, I mean, all this. That one's not as bad there. This foam doesn't seem bad. That's pretty bad too. Look at these other ones though. Like, I mean, they just... No wonder chunks would just come out and smack me in the eye. Look at that. It just crumbles to pieces. And all of this is covered. Now, one thing you want to remind too, this stuff has grease on it, like a lithium grease almost. So when you put it back together, so this rotates nicely, you're going to have to put something back in there. So what I'm going to do is start stripping this stuff down. This needs to come off too, all this foam. Now there's foam inside of there too that needs to come out. For these pieces, they do supply that. This rubber piece needs to go back in there then. When I watched Frankie's video, I'll try to show it here too. It like just presses in or whatever. So it can't be that bad. We'll see. So yeah, I'm excited. Let's start into this. I wonder if this gets foam too, because this looks like it had foam on it too. Again, I gotta watch the rest of his video. I just kind of got sidetracked. So now that everything's apart, I put most of the stuff over here. I've got so much crap out right now. I'm calling this my high point or the tipping point of like, all right, coming down the other side, like starting to put things back together. Because besides taking the underside of this car out, the subframe, I should say, that's pretty much done. So I started cleaning things up or organizing. So that stuff I got to strip yet. So I'll do that outside. This, I don't want to get wet. And I think you can take it apart, not chancing breaking it. So I'll just clean it with air and then clean it with a brush. These cheap Amazon brushes are great. And then I'm just going to use this Grio's interior cleaner. No smell, nothing like that. So I don't want to use anything too caustic, just God forbid it messes something up. And then this stuff here, I got to scrub outside. Again, I want to be careful with the AC unit here. I was going to spray it with water, but I guess it's just air cooled right now. So I don't want to do anything to, again, get that messed up. So I got to scrub all the foam off that. This one I might not even mess with because the foam's good on it. Now, MVP Motorsports kit does include all new foam for that, okay? But I don't think I need to. One thing I would like to do, I wonder if I can get these tubes replaced. Again, maybe I'll just get a cheap kit and get the new tubes, get new lines and stuff. I'm just trying to think of what to do. Maybe I should send this out to PHR. They said about replicating this, but I want to make sure it's to 100% OE spec because it worries me. I've had a heater core explode once in my life. And it is not fun. Oh, hey, my dad's here. I got the plastic outside right now. I cleaned a lot of it up. I just scrubbed it again with that stuff. Just rinse it off. Now, the reason I don't just wipe it by hand is because you can't get in all the cracks. And if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. So use a hose and then with the cleaning stuff to get everything out. So I just got to let it sit here to dry. And then I'll put it up on the table and finish getting the rest. Okay, so I started cleaning everything up here, and foam kit's sitting there, but you can see I actually hit it with a brush, then I had to hand wipe it down too. But another thing I'm doing while I have it all apart, I remember seeing this years ago in Superforms, but factory, the SC400 and I think the SC300 have a cabin air filter. And I'm like, well, why don't we put one in this? It should help keep down smell in the car and then keep the debris, again, going through this. Even though it's got new foam, it's just all the fresh dirt, air, is just coming through there and going through the system. Well, I don't want it going through there. It's forced through one spot, so if I catch it all, I'm going to. If you see this, there's literally a spot where they're supposed to cut it and then never did. You see on the other side here. So you just cut the inside edge of this here. So don't get rid of this lip that's on the outside. Just cut the inside. Score it if you need to. Maybe you can get an X-Acto knife. I'll give that a shot actually first. And then clean it up with sandpaper. And then that's pretty much all you need to do. And if it's apart, this is the easiest time to do it. Obviously, you can do it while it's in the car, but it's going to put all the debris then inside there, which you don't want to do. So I'm going to cut that. Yeah, I'm going to cut that now. I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out. Okay. So everything is clean now. Now it's time to start with the foam kit itself. I just like rinse this off lightly. This one here, again, was trying to be careful with because I don't know if you can even buy this. This is for the AC itself. And it was all like damaged on this side though. Like this is where it had just dirt and stuff just gunked up on it. So I tried to just hit it with some LA's Awesome and just let it rinse out. Didn't even hit it with a brush. Same thing I did here. I just wanted to be as careful as possible. Wipe that all out. But now I need to put on the foam kit for everything. Like I said, I did cut out that there, which will be for the eventual, for the filter, cabin filter. So I just need to get, there's little metal things that go in there so you can bolt it on and off. I guess it uses wing nuts actually. So it has the slots for it. I just need to get those. Guys, so I did start gluing things together here, but I wanted to talk about what glue I used. One thing I did notice in their video that Frankie and them did was they didn't go over which glue to use. So I was like, he's like, get good glue. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to get sprayed adhesive because I'm like, this will cover everything. So I could spray the side of this, spray this piece here, and it'll adhere. And it did pretty good. There's some pieces that really adhered, but it didn't do as well. He said, make sure you get the industrial stuff. Don't cheap out. And this wasn't, I think that was $20 for this bottle. So I was like, man, I guess if that doesn't work, I went to get some Super Glue Pro Gel. He said the gel stuff works better. That didn't really work. So I'm using this now that we got off of Amazon. He also said use some adhesion promoter. So got these exact ones he recommended. So this is what I got off Amazon. You can see here, Glue Masters, thick viscosity, industrial strength, and then this adhesion promoter. It seems to be doing really well. I think I was probably overthinking some of it. I just didn't want it to come apart in there. The one thing I have to remember is this thing, I was like, man, it's going to hot cold. It's going to delaminate. I'm like, wait a second. That foam wasn't even coming off. That was like, as I touch it, just disintegrated. A little piece would come out here or there, but I'm like, this stuff should, keyword should, do fine. So I've done a couple pieces here. I did screw one up, like, put this one on wrong. Look, it's slightly off, but no big deal. I've got this on. The bottom piece here is on. So all these ones here are quote unquote done. Oh, that one is still sticky on the side. Don't touch that, Ryan, you dork. But this one here is still drying a little bit. Yeah, I need to put some pressure on that one and let this one dry out. Put too much glue on it like I did either. Like some of these I put too much glue on and that's where I screwed up, so don't do that. Don't want to make that mistake. So I'm trying to, what I should do is actually this, because I need to put both these, there we go. So I can kill two birds with one stone. I need to get this all to stick together and finish up. So now that I've got this stuff glued on, some of it I haven't done yet because it needs to go inside of that, which I've talked about earlier. This is one of those pieces. I didn't use all the kit. So like the heater core foam all seems fine. Just like this too, I was like, it just didn't make any sense. I need to wipe it off a little bit, but it just didn't, as I got glue on my hands too. Didn't make sense to me if it hadn't broken down after all that time. And it's on there, it fits perfectly. And those things are quote unquote replacement items, so that would come with new foam anyways. But this one is, I mean, it's nice and stiff still, so it wasn't breaking down. I cleaned all this out with water and some LA's Awesome, but the rest of it is good. I think there was one of the panels I didn't, this one here, even in their video, they mentioned it, like it doesn't really do anything. I didn't put it on because it's one less thing to possibly come apart if it's not necessary. Didn't feel like putting it back on. What I am doing though is starting to slowly put it together. I was going to do the big box first, but I'm doing the little pieces. So this one here, again, if you just watch the video backwards, this arm goes on there. And then when you go to put in this piece here, they're very specific. So you're going to see a bunch of these little white pieces you removed. And in my head, I thought the same thing, that they're all relatively the same, but they're not. If you look here, this one has this kind of notch, this one has this type of notch, and this one's straight, and this one's obviously elongated. So you need to make sure you put them back. I took a ton of pictures, and I know I didn't show this in the video, so when you take it apart, make sure you do that. It'll save you a ton of headache in the long run. This video is to go over it so much, and I think I've done a pretty good job of showing you more than usual, but make sure you take a note to take those pictures. Make sure you watch this video. I should probably put a disclaimer at the beginning to watch the video the whole way through before you start, because that's how people make mistakes, you know. So yeah, probably put that disclaimer at the beginning. So I've got a lot of it back together again, guys. All I'm doing here is just reversing the process I started with. So just literally what I did in the video, just reversed it. Pretty much plain and simple. Just put this on, got everything else there. I just need to slide this back in real quick. So put this in this slot right here. Shoot. Oh, is it? Ooh, that is definitely hitting. Why is that hitting? I got to see what I did wrong there. Because that's hitting there and that should be fake. Oh, I put it on backwards, ding dong. Dummy. One thing I wanted to show you too is when you put the AC system in, this is how it needs to go in. This piece goes on top, so you put these 4 screws back in. Again, like I showed you in the video, the wire goes there because this is going to clip back in here like so. Leave it loose for now because I got to put the rest of the wiring in. And then this needs to go back on there too. I want to make sure there's no other wiring I need to do first because I have to put all this back on too. And I need to make sure I put it back in the right spot. I'll make sure I don't forget anything. So I think I'm going to do that next, clean out some of this because it's a little dirty. Make sure I get it all cleaned up, and then this needs to go back on. And again, I cut this out here for the filter, so you can see it protects all this. Now the fan itself is not protected by it, so it looks like it sits right in front of here, and it'll sit right up against all of this then. So this sits like that, so it'll go on like that. All right, so it sits like that, so the filter goes right up and through right here, but it looks like it doesn't maybe not cover everything, because the more I look at it, it's not getting... Oh, that's right, because it goes up and bends down too. That's right. This has got that. It's got like a weird kink in it. So I just wanted to be able to see in there. Because there's where it comes out at. Right here's where it comes. Like it should really be blocking all this too. Almost needs to be like that. Well, like it needs to ride against this, up against it. So I'm not sure how much it's going to do. We'll see. Because you can see that's where it comes out at right there. Yet this doesn't sit down completely that far. So... this sits like that. See how well it does, but something's better than nothing. It's not going to hurt to have it. All right. And now, guys, I didn't go over like putting it back together in detail because, I mean, again, you're just putting it back to say just literally reverse the steps. The video, just go back in reverse. Pretty much what you have to do. The one piece that you will not bolt back on is this. This goes to the body of the car, but there you can see the foam there, and it just presses against it. But now you see some glue that bled through too. This glue is no joke once it's on there. So... yeah, it's pretty awesome. This kit was not bad. I would say on a scale of how hard this is to do, a 4 out of 5 out of 10. Time-wise, tediousness, I would put it like an 8 to 9. It's very time-consuming. It's not hard. It's just plan for 1 to 2 days if you're going to do it and you've never done it before. Obviously, watch this video. There's going to be some times you're going to get frustrated. Might actually be able to do it all in a day if now that you know you have the right glue, what you need to do. A lot of the time is also going to be scrubbing each one of these panels. Take one of these brass brushes, brass brushes. If I can talk here today, I've got a ton of these here, and this is what I use to scrub it. Just did this with some like LA's Awesome or just water. Just sat there with my sink and just scrubbed away till I could get as much off as possible. And then you use those 3M adhesion promoter, and then just put that glue on like crazy. Don't be afraid to use a ton of glue because you just don't want this coming off. That put the cap back on, all the wiring I wanted to show you. So again, that's where the wiring goes here, comes up and over. This white cap goes back on top here. This plug goes here to this motor, then wraps around. Make sure to keep all the clips, comes down, clips there. Actually, this one doesn't have a clip on it. Where did this go before? The only one I don't have right now. And then this comes up here into this guy here. Again, make sure you put the arms back on. This one gets plugged into the body, which I haven't done yet. You can see here, this is the vent, I guess for if you're going to use inside. These are closed off right now to let outside air in, so it's sealed off. So when it is, when I do open these up, this lets fresh outside air in. Again, why I want that filter in there. But here's the rest of the wiring. What runs back behind here, clips here. This is one of the pieces you put on last, comes around, and then comes to this mode over here, which I want to talk about then. This one then runs down through here, and that's that like little weird metal rod that just slid into the bottom of it, and that was it. Yeah, this is the one foam piece I screwed up. But yeah, that is really it, guys. It's nothing too crazy or too bad. It's just very time consuming. The one thing, take a ton of pictures when putting this back together. Anything that was mechanism, I recommend, you know, my video goes over this, but anything that's a mechanism, make sure you take detailed pictures as you take it off. It doesn't hurt to take like 50 or 60 pictures and then just delete them when you're done. It'll just help you remember where things are at. So once you take so many pieces off, take pictures of everything. Take a few more pieces off, take a picture. Really, 15 to 20 pictures will get you through it, or videos if you need to help yourself. But I think this did pretty good. Again, you can see how that is because I was trying to put this on, but there's mechanisms that need to go on in a certain order before you put the motor back on. So it's just dumb things like that. Kind of like up top here, I was screwing around with trying to get this on versus that motor there where you can see I'm like, oh, I put on backwards. Well, they kind of like simultaneously need to go on. So like you put the motor on with the heater core with that little motor and just kind of work it together. Again, once you go to take it apart yourself, you'll see it, and you'll probably see it at the beginning of my video. What else do I have? I'm going to tilt it back just a skosh, just so we can see this here real quick. So there's the bottom motor, or bottom actuator. You can see that there. And you can see that's where that wire runs down to the bottom of the heater core. And that is it. From here, now I just need to put it back in the car. Again, this was the top. It goes there like so. And these were bolts that need to actually hold it in. So this was the beginning of putting the car back together per se, because, well, I guess I do need to take the undercarriage out yet, which you can see my cradle there. After that, this was the beginning for me, realistically. So like this is, all right, fixing, or really just refurbing and putting it back in. I did find blower motor is just those 3 bolts. So if you guys ever need to do a blower motor, just get to the 3 bolts below, and that drops out with the little power to it. So if you ever need to, Rock Auto for that. Same thing for the heater core. I found out you can get these on Rock Auto. Are they as good as OEM? Probably not, but I've heard people say you can't get them anymore. So if you are looking for them, you can get them on Rock Auto. And to get the heater core out, you do have to take the whole dash out still, but to get just the heater core out isn't too crazily involved. You just got to pull this piece off and then this motor up here, and then it just slides up and out, and you can put a new one back in. So that's not too crazy. You don't have to rip it completely apart to replace it. So yeah, just want to go over this, guys. On that note, thank you again to MVP Motorsports, Frankie over Built to Perfection, who invented the kit. Appreciate, guys, all your help. Can check the link up here or go to the website and order yours today. Thank you guys very much, and I hope this was helpful.